I think it's 3. Ooh, this is nice.
Everyone in the service industry has a story, crazy customers, wild orders, and WTF moments. Do you want to start a tab? The podcast here to bring those tales behind the bar. My name is Carl. I've been bartending for 13 years, and I might be part-time bartending now.
Ooh, look at you. Because you have a big boy job now, right?
I have a big boy job. That's not, I mean, bartending is a big boy job, but I know what you mean. I have a 9 to 5 job.
Yes.
And now I'm sitting at home on Fridays and Saturday nights, all lonely,
Because I work on Friday and
all
Saturday
sad.
nights.
And I think I might be picking up a bartending job, but we'll see how that goes this weekend.
Fun.
And you are?
I'm Riley. I don't bartend, but I have worked in the service industry, and these stories are still fun.
And they're still fun. And
I'm being annoyed by a cat. Okay. Stay there. He's like, no, I don't want
he
to.
wants to get in his comfortable
Yes.
position. So on this lovely little podcast, we read stories about the hospitality industry, talk about how they were handled. Could they have been handled differently? Give similarities to life experiences. Rate that story 1 through 5. 1 being your average story, 5 being a holy shit, I gotta tell someone this happened story. And then we also discuss, was there an asshole, was there a hero, and just have fun.
Yes.
And since we are a hospitality industry podcast, we love to drink. And today we are drinking a beer brewed at my big boy job.
Yes.
It is called Smiling.
Smiling's my favorite.
Yep, Smiling's my favorite. That's a Elf reference.
Yes.
And this is a kettle sour, which we both really like.
Yep.
And it is mixed with or brewed with chocolate, oranges, and almonds.
Yes, and it is very nice.
It is very nice. It's not a pastry sour or anything like that. It's just a kettle sour with those flavors in there, so you still get the sour.
Mm-hmm.
You still get those sour notes, but then a little bit of sweetness from the chocolate and the orange.
Get your claws out of my shirt.
Yeah, very nice.
Can't have nice things.
No, we cannot.
This one is called I muted a bar customer from the Petty Revenge subreddit,
Okay.
and it was uploaded by Cozy Night a year ago.
Okay.
When I used to bartend, I tried to have tolerance of people and their situations. Sometimes people would come in and have the worst attitudes. Usually by the time their night was over, there'd be some type of calm/apologetic tone when they closed their tabs. Then there was this one girl. She was in her early 20s and was with a guy friend sitting at the bar. I carded them and she immediately gave an attitude about it. Then after reading the martini menu, I worked at a bar that specialized in martinis. She made a few comments about how the martinis better be worth it. She ordered her first martini, a thin mint. Her friend ordered a dirty. I made both at the same time and put the glasses in front of them and walked to the other customers. I went to check on them 10 minutes later, and she berates me for the shitty martinis I made them. And the thin mint tastes like ass, so even though she managed to drink almost all of it. Her friend liked his martini and ordered another, and apparently tried to calm her down. I gave her the benefit of the doubt and took the martini away, and she asked what she would like instead of that one, and also free of charge. She asked for a fruity martini with the same attitude. I made both martinis, set them down in front of them, and walk away. More people came in, and it gets decently busy. The other bartender comes up to me and says that she wants to talk to me. I walk up to her again. The martini, also almost finished, was the worst, and this is the worst establishment she's ever been to and won't ever come in again. I give them the tab to get them to leave. 15 minutes later, she's now yelling about the awful service and telling other customers that they shouldn't stay in the bar with the shitty drinks and how she could make better martinis. She was awful. And after her friend paid the tab, no tip, I told her in no uncertain terms that she's never allowed back into the bar. She asked to speak to the manager, and I said I was the manager. Here's the petty. 2 weeks later, her friend, B, is having a birthday party at the bar. B's friends are all showing up to celebrate with her. In walks the girl who berated me, the bar, and the other customers. I looked at her and told her that she was not allowed into the bar and needed to leave. That I was not up to dealing with anything out of her mouth nor her attitude. She pleads with me to please let her stay as it's her best friend's birthday, blah, blah, blah. B asks if there's anything she could do to stay. So I tell them that she can stay, but she cannot say one word or sound the entire time she is there. If I or anyone else in the bar hears anything, she needs to leave. The entire night, she had to use a pen and paper on her phone to communicate. It was also even more embarrassing for her because a few of the regulars that saw her the first time let it be known to the entire bar why she was muted. It became a game with them to try to get her to make a sound.
I love it.
Minus my inability to read.
It's fine.
Yes.
I've run into. Let's start off with the ID thing.
Right.
That pisses me the fuck off so much. Like, and it's not, and it's the women that are like the ages of like 24 to like 28.
Right.
You ID them like, ugh.
Why do you have to ID me? I'm
well
obviously
over 21. And you look at their ID, you're like, you're barely 25.
Right.
You look like you're fucking 18 because of how the way you're dressed.
Right. And also, it's my fucking job. Just fucking deal with it.
Right. If you want to drink in here, I have to make sure you're old enough because your little dumbass is not worth my liquor license.
Right.
So I am going to be 43 in a week.
Uh-huh.
And I finally stopped getting carded 6 years ago, I think.
It wasn't even that long. It's when your grays really started to come in.
And definitely since I got this sleeve tattoo.
Yeah.
That is, even though it shouldn't matter tattoos wise, but it just makes you seem like you're older than 21.
And especially when it's art that you know that's obviously been paid for. With
Right.
like obviously done well.
Mm-hmm.
And
because
it costs you a pretty penny.
And a bunch of 19-year-olds aren't going to go get a bunch of really nice looking tattoos.
Right. The tattoos I've gotten since I turned like 28 are a completely different caliber of tattoos that I got when I was younger.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, I finally stopped getting carded. I never complained because I didn't give a shit.
Right.
It is what it is. It takes you literally 10 seconds to pull out your fucking ID, show it, and be fine.
Right. Well, then you move on to this is the worst martini I've ever tasted. This is fucking terrible. Well, first of all, you ordered a Thin Mint. You can make a good Thin Mint martini, but it's never going to be great.
No. Let's even back up a little bit before that. She says these martinis better be worth it.
Oh, then fuck you.
Right? Like, I go, this might not be your place then.
Right.
I would have already said it like that. Like, if you're like, I'm like, well, we certainly do try here, or like,
right.
Or, or let's say it was a spot you have like 800 Google reviews and it's a 4-point plus. I go, I don't know. A lot of people seem to like and come back all the time.
Right.
But so then like, you're right. She complains about a Thin Mint martini, which I'm not gonna get on my soapbox about what I believe a martini should be called and why they're called that, but that's for a different time. But that might be a Patreon where we can just do like things that
what
are
grinds
called my gears.
Yeah, what grinds my gears about cocktail naming,
right,
and cocktails in general.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So, yeah, her complaining about that. When someone's going to complain about a Thin Mint, it means it's not sweet enough for them.
Right. Or they use a shitty chocolate replacement.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, either or they can taste the booze too much.
Right.
It's either not sweet enough or they can taste too much booze, or they can't taste enough booze.
Right. Because a Thin Mint, at the end of the day, should be chocolate and mint, right?
Yeah. It's usually creme de menthe.
And some sort of chocolate base and vodka.
Yep.
Sorry, taking a big old swig.
No, you're good. But and then my biggest pet peeve when people say, "Oh, I hated it. This is terrible." Then why'd you drink it all?
Right. It's the people that fucking eat shit and halfway through like, I don't like it.
They want free drinks. They want free food. They want you to bend over backwards to please them. If you don't like it, tell me after the first sip.
I would say maybe after 2, just for the sake of whatever. But yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, don't take
Splitting
a majority.
hairs.
Hey, just want to make sure the people are clear.
Drink it. If you drink it all, that's a you problem.
Right. Yeah. Yep. It's the same with when people say they don't like something, but they didn't talk to me about it. Like I didn't walk them through like what this ingredient is or what their expectations should be for it.
Right.
And they want something free. I'm like, but you ordered it.
If you order something with an ingredient that you're not familiar with, either ask what that ingredient is or suck it up.
Yep. We do it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily,
mean-
when we make drinks that we don't like at our home, we don't drink them.
You have these things that are in your hand at all times, or if you're not familiar with an ingredient, you can Google it.
Right. Yeah, we have $1,000 laptops in our pocket.
Right.
But yeah, it's and right. And then the server or bartender's nice and says, you know what, I'll make you another one on me.
Yep.
Which they didn't have to because
Nope.
I think, like you said, if you drink at least half of it, or I would say even a third of it,
Right.
like it's yours.
If you didn't tell me you didn't like it, but you continued to drink it, that's again on you.
Yep. Now, here's where I would have went with this, and obviously we don't know if this bartender did this because maybe they just left out some of this stuff. But
Right.
after that first one, yes, they did the correct thing in asking, "What do you usually drink?"
Right.
Fruity drinks. Okay, but are you overly sweet? Like there have been some more keywords I would have like asked for to see
You
what
would've
they're
looked
looking for, and say, "What do you normally drink?" And then have them like tell me a drink, like, "Oh, I drink a Cosmo, even though that's not really fruity," or "I drink this or drink that."
Right.
Because maybe they made a fruited drink, but it's more balanced than it is sweet.
Right.
And that's what they're looking for, probably.
Right.
Because when people say sweet, or I'm sorry, when people say fruited drinks, I'm assuming they're talking about juices, a lot of juices, and a lot of syrups and stuff
Yes.
like that. And I want to make sure where they're at. So
You're assuming they're talking about like a tequila sunrise or yeah.
or
something-
Alabama Slam or
yeah.
some shit like that. So you want to be, again, this bartender might have done it, just didn't put it in the
Right.
story. But for anyone out there, you need to ask probably usually 2 to 3 questions about what they drink, so you kind of like start like,
Getting a
filtering
feel.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then like her friend, sitting there drinking fucking dirty martinis like a champ.
Right.
She's like, this is good because you can't really fuck that. Oh, you can't fuck that
You
up.
can.
You can, and then the nerve of this girl, I'm going to call her a girl because that's what she's acting like.
Right.
A little girl. To start complaining to other guests that they shouldn't be in there.
Right.
Like, get the fuck, you had 2 drinks.
Right. Oh, the service is terrible. I've seen this woman. I've seen this woman, and I've seen the Karen-esque attitude where it's, oh, I didn't get what I wanted, so now I'm just gonna trash everything because everything should revolve around me. Fuck you.
Yeah. You just got 2 drinks for the price of 1. Suck it up and move on to the next bar.
Right. And then to not tip, even though 2 of the drinks were good.
Yeah, why did the friend not tip? That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, and it sounded like it was a date, not just a friend.
I thought it was 2 females. Because
Uh,
same person.
A guy friend sitting at the bar.
Oh. Interesting. So is this guy and friend really like going to listen to this person and let her dictate how he handles the bill and tips?
Right.
You don't tip her. She doesn't deserve it. Or I don't know if the bartender's a
You know
female.
that's the attitude that she had.
He's trying to get with her, so he's just doing whatever she wants.
Maybe. But then for her to come back and beg to be allowed to stay, that's got to feel so powerful.
Yeah.
That's got to feel so just like
Because she's
vindication.
right. She's probably hopefully that one bartender isn't there working,
Right.
so I can maybe just sneak in.
Right.
But that bartender fucking went to the security cameras, print out your little picture, and put it on the back room so everyone can see it. Like, don't
Yeah.
let this person in.
Right.
Not allowed. But then for her to sit there and actually be shut up, because she knows she's in the wrong.
Yeah, she knows she fucked up.
She knows she was, maybe she had a bad day, whatever. I'm not saying that excuses what she did, but she probably like, oh, I fucked up. And she sat there like a champ and wrote notes. And I love that the guests were coming in on it.
Yes.
Like the regulars were trying to like get her to say a word or something like that. I love it.
Yeah. That has got to feel great as that bartender. Shit like that makes the shitty part of the story worth it.
I mean, that's what's great about bartending. Like, I guess I'm kind of lucky because I worked at bars where I'm not ragged on all day, maybe like a dive bar or, sports, like a super busy bar where it's just, you're trying your best. But like, you could be having a really shitty day and this one thing happened. She may have had a 6 hours worth of shitty shit for whatever reason.
Right.
Bad day at home and just things aren't going her way, and then this comes in, she's like, fuck yeah, give me this day every day, all day.
Right.
But yeah. So obviously the asshole is I would say it's obviously the girl, but then also her male friend the first time
Yeah.
for not tipping.
Yeah, because like he had to know she was being difficult.
Uh-huh.
He had to know, but he just, for one reason or another, didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, and he said he liked his drinks. So you're telling me you liked your 2 drinks, your friend didn't like hers, so you're not going to tip the bartender because your friend's being difficult.
Right. I mean, if I am out with somebody who I know is notoriously difficult to restaurant staff, I tip more.
How often does that happen?
Not frequently, but occasionally.
Okay, we'll talk off air. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious who this is. I'm not going to ask them. I hope that person who's listening to this is like, fuck, it's me, isn't it? But okay, we're gonna play 20 questions when we do this up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you'd like to hear that discussion, Patreon. That's our $10
No.
month. I'm just joking. $100 on Patreon. Boom.
No.
No, I'm just joking. But what do you rate the story?
I mean, the fact that she stayed quiet and that the social pressure was so much to make her cave to this ridiculous situation. 4.8.
Wow.
Because she stayed shut up.
Yeah.
Even when she had regular customers, other bartenders, the entire group at the party.
Yeah.
4.8.
Wow.
She kept her mouth shut.
I wonder how long they were there for.
It had to have been at least an hour.
Yeah.
At least an hour. And she didn't say a goddamn word the whole time. She used pen and paper to write her orders or to have conversations. Yeah. This is the perfect example of mundane shit that can make somebody's day. And nobody, especially people in a bar, is going to be able to do that.
Right.
Or unless you know you fucked up. Her guilt and her shame in her behavior previously was so deep.
Right.
That she knew she had to follow this.
Think about no, that's a great point. But also, okay, so she said it's her best friend that's having her birthday party there, right? So you would think at least 3 to 4 days before, best friend tells her, hey, we're gonna go to this bar. Do you not think that this conversation came up saying, I'm technically not allowed back in there, blah, 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 blah? Or did she just
She probably said, it'll be fine. I got kicked out of there once, but it'll be fine because...
Yeah.
So the entitled attitude was probably still there.
Until she walked through
and
the
then
door.
that's another layer of the shame and the vindication for this bartender.
I'm going to go 4.
You're going to go 4? Just a 4?
I was going to go 3.6, so you bumped it up to a 4 for me.
Yeah, no, this is a just desserts, I feel like, is what this is.
Right, absolutely.
This is karma.
Karma.
And I am always a fan, and I am always here for karma.
Right.
People getting what they deserve.
Absolutely.
And she learned something. You know she learned something.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Tip your bartenders and drink responsibly.
So, if you found this story interesting and exciting, go ahead and leave us a review on your podcast player. Spotify, Apple, helps the podcast grow. We'd love to keep getting those reviews in because it helps us grow and it shows other people like, oh, this podcast has a lot of reviews. Let's listen to it. Share it with a friend or family member like, hey, you're this person. Don't tell them you're this person. Just send them this podcast episode.
Hey, listen to this story that I heard on this podcast.
And afterwards, what do you think?
Take a hint.
Take a hint, motherfucker. Share it with friends and family, helps the podcast grow. But then also, if you have a story of your own where you're petty as fuck, or maybe you kind of fucked up and someone was super petty to you because you fucked up, we have a subreddit on any description of podcast player that you're listening to. Do you want to start a tab? Let us know. But if you'd like to call us and leave us up to a 3-minute story, 563-277-0072. Listen to it, talk about it. And then last thing, if you disagree or agree with one of our stories, call in and let us know about that too. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
And on one little side note, so today is November 24th, day after Thanksgiving, but a bigger day after for us.
Yes.
It was our 4-year wedding anniversary yesterday.
Yes, it was.
And what we're going to do for our Patreon episode is kind of maybe talk about our past 4 years of marriage and how it's been going and stuff like that. So if you wanted to subscribe to that, it's only $3 a month. We talk to guests and kind of go more deeper into our personal episodes. But I love you.
I love you.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
And thank you for doing this silly little project with me.
Of course. I love to support your dreams.
Mm-hmm. And I'm supporting your dreams too.
Mm-hmm.
We have another podcast, but more on that later.
Yep.
Okay. Enough of that sappy shit. Mine is from my favorite subreddit, Am I the Asshole? And it was from a deleted user 1 year ago. Am I the asshole for telling the bartender that I paid and tipped after she only thanked my husband? My husband and I didn't feel like cooking the other night, so I suggested going to the local restaurant to grab a beer and quick dinner. He's a regular there and goes about once a week with his friend. I told him I have cash, so I would pick up the tab. We sat at the bar. My husband told me we have to make sure to tip her good because she's the new bartender on the day me and my friend go. I work a tip-based customer service job as well, so that was fine by me. I get it. We ordered dinner and a couple of beers, each during our stay. She wasn't rude to me, but she just didn't really acknowledge my presence. Only asked husband if food was okay. Only asked husband if he needed a box when his plate was practically empty and mine was half full. My husband got big smiles with laughs, and I got dead-faced and monotone. I still answered politely, even if she didn't technically ask me a question. Tab was about $60. I left that plus a $30 tip, all cash. I work for tips. My husband's a regular. We'll both be back. And even if she gave me weird vibes, I always had a drink and my food was great. This is where I might be the asshole. After she cashed us out, she leaned over the bar with her back towards me and said to my husband, "Thank you so much for doing that. It was so nice." I was really annoyed by this. While the back of her head was 10 inches from my face, I loudly say, "I paid the tab and I tipped you. You're welcome." My "you're welcome" was definitely and purposely sarcastic. I know she heard me. She just walked away and never looked back my way. We left right after. My husband told me on the ride home that my comment was uncalled for. He goes in there a lot and I embarrassed him. My husband is great, but he's obviously in his mind she wasn't rude. We never had an empty glass and our dinners were great. He thinks it's just because she assumed he paid when I did. He's technically right, but I work in the same environment. I always treat people the same, not the person I assume who paid and or tipped. So am I the asshole?
This is a weird one because I mean, she basically didn't give you attention at all, and you were also there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm gonna say not the asshole.
Oh, no, definitely not the asshole.
No.
Because if the bartender just did it, the bartender had to know, because you see who puts the fucking money down and checks down, unless you're super busy and you're just flying by the seat of your pants, right?
Right.
But she's new too, so maybe she doesn't have that like sensibility just to always look everywhere and just like keep your eyes open. Was it keep your head on a swivel?
Right.
If she was not like basically super flirty and only asking her husband questions and then just assumed that the husband paid and said it,
Right.
probably that would be kind of an asshole thing. But
Right.
since it seems like from the story that the bartender only gave attention, positive attention to the husband.
Any attention, whatever.
Right.
Any attention whatsoever.
Flirty type of attention. Like,
Well, no, it's not even that. Like, she didn't even ask her if she wanted a box. She only asked the husband if he wanted a box.
right.
And, like...
But that's what I'm saying. If she was not like that
Right.
and she said, "Thank you to the husband," I get it. Most males pay, blah, 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 blah. But since she's doing all this shit, it just adds up. It's just, I could probably see the blood level, like, you know,
Right.
rising.
Well, I mean, to me, it sounds like this bartender just treated her like she was invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's just not how you go about doing that job.
No. Yeah.
So honestly, I feel like the bartender for our own podcast, like if we're determining an asshole for this story, it's the bartender.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you know one of the people sitting at your table and you don't know the other person, you still don't ignore that person. Like
Right.
everybody should get the same level of attention to detail, or like, hey, do y'all need a box?
Right.
Not, do you need a box?
Right.
Or, hey, can I get anything else?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you need anything else? Like,
Right.
it's language, and it's maybe it's just because she's new, but it's still not okay.
Yep. It's
And I learned as a server when I was dealing with couples that you address the woman more,
yep.
because otherwise,
If you make her happy, the guy's happy.
but also you get a better tip.
Yeah.
But still, like, I don't. Yeah, that's just shitty. Like, I would have probably said something too, or I'd have at least I'd have bitched about it in the car on the way home.
Yeah, but it's a lot of these stories where the husband and the boyfriend doesn't back their partner up at all. We've read multiple stories about this,
Right.
where like the partner's telling them, I feel like this, and like, just suck it up. Like, Jesus. What?
Oh, the words "who fucking cares" come out of your mouth all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
When I say that things are irritating me, and you say "who fucking cares," it doesn't matter. So take a lesson from your own fucking thought process for a second.
I am. That's what therapy's doing. Thank you very much.
I'm just saying is all. It's different when you're looking at it from the outside, isn't it?
So, what was I gonna say? I wonder. I just try to totally just snip that and move on. I wonder how they sat down. Did husband go, "Hey, bartender, this is my wife"? You know, I'm not saying that he needed to do that.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, does she, again, I'm not saying if she just thought they were friends or co-workers, doesn't change how she treated.
It shouldn't.
Her. But I'm just curious. And she said, "Hey, bartender, this is my wife, so-and-so, you know, blah, blah, blah." So,
I don't know.
again, but see, I think that might make a difference, because if she thinks it's her husband or they're married, maybe that's why she was doing it, you know, to like, I don't know. Maybe she's
And that just makes her even more of the asshole,
Right.
because that's not how you do your job in the service industry.
right. Absolutely.
Every customer is a paying customer, and they're not always right, but if they're not being an asshole to you, then you need to not be an asshole to them.
Right.
Ugh. I'm so irritated. That's poor training,
Yep.
but it's also just like,
Poor social skills, just in general.
yeah.
Just in
Just
general.
not
in life.
being able to, like, I don't know. I shouldn't be as angry about this story as I am, but like, I definitely think not the asshole. Do I think the comment needed to be made? No.
Right.
But at the same time, she needs to learn, and how else is she going to learn if nobody's going to teach her?
Yep. So most of the comment, everyone says she's not the asshole, and the biggest thing is she assumed your husband was going to pay and spent all her time flirting with him to get the bigger tip.
Right.
That's basically most of it. So, yeah, it's just don't do that. You need to treat, obviously, if you know a person, you're gonna maybe talk to them a little bit more, but you still gotta treat everyone else that's with them with the same amount of respect and with at least some sort of like attention, like just generalizations.
Yeah, because it sounds like she just like snubbed the OP
on everything
in general.
Right.
Like, pretended this person was invisible, which is terrible.
Absolutely.
Like, nobody wants to feel invisible. Everybody wants to feel like they're seen and they're taken care of, especially when it's your job to take care of them. This is one of the first, like, I mean, it's not one of the first, but it's a very good example of sometimes it's okay to be a dick. Like,
oh, yeah.
Because that comment was a dickish comment. However,
it was justified.
justified.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that bad. It was
Right.
like, hey, I paid.
Yep. It's probably in the tone she said it, obviously, because she said it sarcastically. So it was probably more of the tone, which the husband got mad at, which who gives a shit?
No, the husband's just mad because he got caught flirting.
Yeah.
And he didn't want it to be a big deal. It's not a big deal. She's just a bartender. Makes me wonder what the husband's doing.
He's playing with fire, bringing his wife to his side chick.
No, that's not at all.
I know.
But like, I mean, if you're that defensive on behalf of somebody who you see once a week when you go with your friends versus the person who was legitimately snubbed for the entire hour that you were out.
Yeah. What are we rating this story?
3.
A 3? Yeah. It's a little bit average, but nothing too crazy.
Because I've seen shit service, but like, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
But I mean, you know what happens, like,
Oh yeah.
because there are all kinds of horror stories about, the server was flirting with my husband, blah 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 blah, whatever. But
no, I've done it where I flirted. I know they're especially at the hotel because it's usually couples. If it's a man and a woman, I'm not saying there's not other couples, but usually it's
when you have a man and a woman at the bar,
you can assume they're boyfriend, girlfriend, partners, married, whatever. It's pretty easy to say that, for the most part. And I'll be honest, there's times I flirted with the wife right in front of them, and some guys fucking are like, "Thank you." Like,
but that's I think I can pinpoint the general rule. Obviously, this is not the case in every situation, but the general rule why that is more acceptable.
Yeah,
because to men, you hyping up their wife makes their wife
feel good,
and that generally tends to lead to you having a better day. But women have always, like, it's competition. It's not collaboration.
Right. That makes sense.
But especially since servers typically are younger and are being actively flirty. And like there's just a general stigma about that.
Yeah.
About your server, your bartender flirting with your husband and he's gonna run away with her, blah 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 blah. It's the whole phone numbers on the tip sheet.
Right.
But men, when you have male bartenders are kind of like a quote unquote fantasy that's like unobtainable. Versus female servers who is like, you want to take them home and it's easy. That's the stigma, the reputation, obviously not the truth.
Right.
But the perception is there for a reason.
We're all just slutty little fucking drink servers.
Yep.
We just fuck everything that walks through the bar.
Or you try.
We try. Damn it. I thought working at a hotel would be super easier to get someone to ask me back to their hotel room.
That happened a couple times though, right?
One, I think if I pushed the issue, I think she would have asked. And then one did ask.
See, couple.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you rate this story?
I like 3. 3 is good.
Okay. Just a solid 3.
Just a solid 3. So yeah, I think these are very similar stories from two different points of view, from 2 different roles. Right? You had the guest in the first one, you're one, you know, and then the bartender in this one, you know, like I think like it's very like you need to be self-aware of what you're doing and how you're presenting yourself.
Right.
You know? Obviously, a lot of our stories are like this, but I think today the 2 stories were very similar, but on the flip side of the bar.
Right.
So just remember, guys, don't be a dick. Tip your bartenders and drink fucking responsibly, please.
Yes.